Welcome to The Human Experience, a podcast about the stories we live out every day and the importance of championing the vulnerability and courage of the storyteller. I'm your host, Jennifer Peterkin, and it was through my own lived story of experiencing domestic violence that this podcast was created. By traveling the globe and interviewing each guest in person, I am convinced now more than ever that stories have the power to change the world. You can join our community of storytellers by subscribing, leaving a rating and review, signing up for my newsletter, following me on Instagram, and more. Thank you for being here. In a world full of noise, to listen with intention is an act of resistance. Well, Maria, thank you so much for meeting with me and sitting down to talk with me about your story and how that has shaped who you are and who you've become.
Thank you, Jennifer, for coming. It's very exciting to be interviewed in person. It's different and unique, and that is my jam. That's how I roll. If it's different and unique, I'm all over it.
Sign me up.
Yes, sign me up. So, I like to say that, God has set me with all of my sense settings on high, full blast. And it took me all of my life. Pretty much. I just turned 47, and I really don't think I came into understanding myself in a really grounded, clear way until my own spiritual awakening, which was in 2019.
Okay.
So I was 41.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing that that's fairly recent. So you've just like really totally, I'm assuming that you've had a major turn in your life.
Yeah.
Okay. So
a few rights and a few left.
Okay. Yes. Well, perfect. Yeah.
A transformation for sure.
Exactly.
A total transformation. And that was needed because I grew up with a lot of trauma and, I went through a divorce, but my bottom was, trying to take my own life in 2011. And so from that time up until I'd say really the last few years, I was in a long chapter of healing.
Okay. Yeah. And that is certainly a process unto itself and not a linear process by any means, as I'm sure you can attest.
Yes. Yes. I went through lots of modalities. I started in the hospital and traditional talk therapy. I went through EMDR. I've done DBT. And then I found holistic healing, which is what I do now, which, I come to the realization that this is my purpose in life. So it really just unlocked everything that just makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So I started my blog, Emotional Musings, in 2018. And that was really the catalyst for everything else.
Okay.
Starting to share my poetry and put myself out there. And in 2020, right on the January of 2020, I made this vision board and I made the commitment to myself to do anything that made me feel nervous or fearful or I feel like I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, I'm going to do it. And so, I took an apprenticeship to learn about my gifts. And now that's what I do with other people.
Very cool.
I help other people through their own spiritual awakenings. And I have really no words for it. I always say that I'm never not in awe of the way spirit communicates with us and the connection that we have to all that is. And that's where I hang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the time, that's where I can be found. If I'm not, working out, I'm sitting with spirit.
Very different, different ways of being, right?
Yes.
So let's go back to your story. Well, it's all your story, but let's go back in time. Where would you say that your story begins? What does that mean to you when you start kind of tracking where you were to where you are now?
My goodness. Well, I've had a lot of lifetimes in these 47 years. And, I remember most of it. Some of it, I don't, just because I feel like that's what happens to your human brain will just kind of just delete the details.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I grew up dancing. We had a really big family. I come from Italian and Puerto Rican, Venezuelan roots. And my little sister and I danced. And that was the first thing that I wanted to do in life, was become a dancer. And so I've always been somebody who just loves music. I love to move my body. That was a huge part of my life until I stopped doing that in like high school. And then I think I really started to get lost. And I got married early. I became a mom at 23, which is interesting because my oldest son is the same age and he just got engaged, which is really awesome because I'm like so excited about that and happy for him. But I think, you know, getting married and having kids and being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years really was such a beautiful time, but I was drowning. I was drowning in what I didn't know. I didn't know myself.
Yeah.
And I was very just distracted, disillusioned, and in denial because I had been an alcoholic my whole life. I mean, I'm sober now over 4 years, and this is the longest time in my whole life because I started drinking at 15. So that was, I'd say alcohol and then drugs were a huge turnoff.
Yeah.
Turn down of like, you know, all the things that were plaguing me and distracting me from me. And so once I, you know, learned to really tune all that out, then I came to peace. But so I'd say that like the beginning, I like to use a lot of humor in my story because I feel like it makes it easier to talk about. And I say like I had like the slowest nervous breakdown. You know, my ex-husband and I were part of the housing crash that happened in 2007, 2008. And then we went back to my family's house and lived with the kids for a while. And then when he wanted to move back to Rhode Island, things just were falling apart. And I was like, I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. And I told him to leave. And I feel like that was me like trying to protect my kids from seeing me lose my mind. And I did. I like slowly, but then quickly unraveled and tried to take my own life. I was in a really abusive relationship, not my marriage, because that was not abusive, somebody after my marriage. And that was when I tried to take my own life. And that was me trying to take control of the situation. Yeah. I really knew that this person was going to kill me. And I was like, no, I'm going to take me out. And then that was my bottom at that time, which is a pretty huge wake-up call to come back from. So, and then it's just been, it's just kind of been one foot in front of the other. And I feel like everything is so divinely orchestrated because once I did meet a shaman, you know, because I certainly wasn't looking for her, and she came into my life, it was like, oh, this is where I'm meant to be. This is like now taking me to exactly where I need to be. And I feel like that's just what happens in life. Like things happen all for a reason and we just go with them and we learn along the way. And that's just how I live my life. I'm very free-spirited. I will try things and I'm not afraid to do things. I don't let my mind run the show anymore. I say like I operate by feeling, and that's how I do it.
Your gut, your intuition.
Yeah. And that is something that I feel most of my life through human conditioning, through experiences was turned down. And I lost a lot of trust with myself. I didn't believe in myself. And that also led to feeling powerless, not feeling worthy, feeling undeserving. Like, it was, there were big things that I faced and had to like turn around. And now it's so beautiful because I get to help a lot of women do this.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I do work with male clients. I even work with like young adults, but mostly it's other women, you know, who have been through similar things, sexual abuse, drug addiction, mental health problems. And most everybody who comes to me is also gifted because I believe we're all gifted. It's just a muscle that you just learn to build. And the more you give to it, the more you receive. It's just like anything else.
Sure.
It's an exchange of energy.
Sure.
Just like Mishka wants to do this exchange of his toy right now.
He wants to be on the podcast too.
He does.
And him and his Kong will certainly be in the final cut. So you said you stopped dancing around 15. Was there a reason that you stopped?
Well, I think it was so intense. It was really, I grew up right outside of Manhattan, and it was an intensity that was really a lot to live up to. I mean, show business is a rough road. And I was arguing a lot with my parents, and my mom would love to threaten and take things away, and she took it away, and I was just like, that's it. And I kind of cut off my nose to spite my face. Yeah. For sure. But, over the years, I've never stopped dancing, I've never. Yeah. I mean, I went to teaching dance when I was a young mom, and I mean, I move a lot. Now the things that I do with my light language, I will move. I mean, energy healing I am the instrument. So it's my whole body is involved in it. My voice, my body, I love to dance at parties. I take Zumba. About it. Yeah, I'm all about it. Yeah. I
love it. Yes.
I have dance parties in my house. My kids, when they were little, we had dance parties. So I'd say the two things that I feel I'm most connected to as my soul expressions are dancing and writing. For sure, because they're things that just are so natural. And when I work with people, I will invite them to get in touch with your soul. And that is how you do it, through something that is passionate to you, that is just easy. It just speaks to you, and you want to keep doing it. Yeah. And a lot of times I feel we don't give ourselves that gift. Yeah. We're like, I got to do this. I got to do that. I have a lot of sayings that I use, and it's don't should all over yourself. Don't should yourself away from yourself, really. Yeah. That's how you lose yourself. Yeah. And I know it well. So I'm come on.
From experience.
Come back. Yeah. Come back.
For sure. Yeah. I think it is important. I think it speaks to what we were already talking about with intuition, is that there's this what life or what you are supposed to look like, and what this picture of success or of normalcy or whatever is supposed to be. And first of all, it looks different for everybody because we're not all the same. But second of all, it's just such an oppressive thing to live inside that box when it's not what you want. For some people, it's what they want, and that's okay. If you want the things that are considered quote unquote normal by societal standards, go for it. That's all you. If you don't want that, that's also okay.
Yeah. And that's where we are now.
Yeah.
I feel that's where we are now, Jennifer. We are in this great awakening where people are pushing the status quo and outside the box. And I always say I color outside the lines. I'm a rainbow unicorn. That's why my hair is the way it is. I'm just different. I've always known I'm different. Yeah. And I felt different. And, being called weird and all of those things, that didn't serve me at all.
Yeah.
And I'm not a 9-to-5 person. I never have been. I'm not meant to do that.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't work that way. So it was what can I do? And I did. I worked with people a lot. I've always been with people.
Yeah.
I've been a caregiver, and then I worked in the retail field, and I've just always been with people. I worked in a grocery store. I've done a lot of interesting types of tasks, but it's always been how I can serve others. And that is who I am. I have a servant's heart, and that's what I'm here to do. I say I'm here to help heal humanity one heart at a time, through my poetry and through shamanic healing, because I believe so greatly in it, that it's so important for people to get in touch with the Mother Earth that we live on and your connection to her. And that's how we do that. So I just walk alongside people and guide them on these journeys, which are life-changing. And I'm a testament to it. So
sure. Yeah. You teach what you know, right?
Yes.
What you've experienced.
Yeah.
So you said you started drinking around age 15 as well. So was that happening at the same time where you were kind of falling out of love with dancing or the idea of?
I think it was all like a perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And alcohol was my solution. And I was a blackout drunk. I was like, there was no like, oh, I'm going to have one drink. I never have had a drinking career. That was one drink. I just don't know how to do that. I have an addictive personality. And so, I've even taken exercise to dangerous levels. I've had an eating disorder most of my life as well. So that was something that was all consuming to me and definitely got out of control. I'd say about 10, 12 years later, and I was in such a denial to it. And like when I was in the hospital for my suicide attempt, the nurses were like, why don't you go and sit in an AA meeting? And I remember like being in there and being scared to death. Like, oh my God, this is too much. Similar to the feeling of I've had a lot of great therapists in my life. And one therapist after this time, once I had come down here to Florida, had said to me, I want you to look up what an empath is. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is explaining like who I am. And it made so much sense to me. And that really, all of these things like unlocked the keys to me, to my own story. And then I just went further with it. And it's just something that I've always been able to do is pick up feelings, thoughts. And it's just learning to hone those things now and be discerning with them and when to share them and when not to share them. And, most of this is for me. It's my journey, but it's a beautiful opportunity to share it with others. There's a lot of things that I had to learn, a lot.
Yeah.
I'd say the top two are boundaries and balance. Those are things I was not raised with at all in the family that I grew up in.
Okay.
And that's okay. Our families are here to help us learn. And some of us are born into wonderful families that nurture us and make us feel safe and confident. And like, unfortunately, my family was not that way.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. It was dysfunctional. And so I've learned to do all of that myself.
Yeah.
I've reparented myself. I've done a lot of inner child healing. I've become very versed in self-empowerment. And that's what I write about. I write about nature. I write about empowerment. I write about the self-love journey because we can't externalize what needs to come from within. And I feel like that's what so many of us do. Unless you are a really like confident, safe, grounded, all together. I didn't have that experience for most of my life.
Sure.
So I've had to learn to do that for myself, which is the greatest gift ever, and now my life is filled with a lot of richness and things that happen are like an addition to the peace that I have within myself that I was like seeking in a bottle, in a drug, in a prescription, like all of these Band-Aids that they go away. They don't last. So,
Yeah. Because you were drinking for so long, were you high functioning? Did people around you know that you?
Yeah, I was high functioning, but I was also like blatantly like, oh, okay. And there's like certain things now, I have a lot of conversations with my older son. And I remember when he started to become an adult and we would talk about things and he would be like, oh yeah, Mom, remember like where that liquor store was? And I was like, wow, he's like referencing a memory based on a liquor store location. That's something.
Sure.
Because I would take my kids into the liquor store with me and, my family definitely knew. But, it was anything that anybody's going to change, they have to come to it on their own.
Absolutely.
Nobody can force you to do anything. I mean, we know this from, my sister works in the recovery field, my partner does. And if you don't want to be there, it's just not going to stick.
Sure.
Yes. You have to want it.
Yeah.
That's how change occurs, real change. And then it's really like the pain and the discomfort. And I was so sick and tired of being the way I was that I wanted to die. So, my whole thing has been like being that hopeless. I have made many promises to myself, but one of the number one promises is like, there's always hope. Like nothing is ever over, because everything is temporary in this life. And I've had to learn that. I'm a very like spicy and fiery person, and I have a very upbeat energy, but I've had to learn to like sit still and be quiet and listen and be patient. Those are huge things for me.
Yeah.
Coming into this experience now that I'm having, like acceptance, unconditional love, and patience. Those three things are paramount in how I run my everyday life, because everything is a quiet gift. It really is. It's like when you're present, you can see like the beauty in everything. And that doesn't come from, me like being on a drug. It's just like, wow, I'm a witness and I'm here and I can feel that. And that's beautiful. And that's something that I blocked when really it's my greatest gift.
Yeah.
So it's like interesting how that happens.
Yeah.
I was so afraid of all of these abilities, being able to sense spirit the way I do. I was running from it. A lot of the conversations I have are about like, talk about spirit and your spiritual awakening. And I was like, bro, I like ran from this shit. I was like, not about it. I was like, no, I know I'm weird. I'm good. But, now it's just like, I embrace it all and I'm out there and I'm not, that's another level that I think I'm coming into in these last few years is like putting all of my gifts out there, and really sharing them and not holding them back. I started speaking light language 2 years ago, and that's something that is so beautiful and comes into all my healing sessions. And I've started recording them and putting them into rituals and putting them out online. And like, not everybody does that.
Sure.
And so, there's, I'm here to like break stigmas and break walls and to be a leader in this revolution of love. That's what I feel this time is. It's a great awakening and it's the revolution of love, because love is what is going to heal everyone. And we are not only in this country, but in the world. That's why there's so much chaos, because things are going to break before they come together, and they're going to come together in love. And I am one of the people that have been writing about this for years, a solid 6-7 years now. So people are catching on. It's going to happen. It is happening. There's so many beautiful groups of people, I feel like you attract what you put out. And so I see so much beauty. I really do.
Yeah.
I live in a lot of beauty and like-minded people that want to feel connected. They want to feel joy and to have it be everlasting, not just a moment, because it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
You could make this your whole life.
Yeah. Did you grow up with faith or religion?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. My parents are both very Catholic. My sister and I were in Catholic school for a little while, but we did like Bible camps, and I've always been around a church. And so I know that my ancestors in spirit, I come from a long line of candle lighters, people who are prayer sayers. And so that has always been very near and dear to my heart, very important and special to me. And that is what has gotten me through, is my belief in God and a higher purpose and, whatever you want to say, source, energy, something that is greater than myself that I am connected to. And that is what has 100% saved me. If I didn't have my faith, I don't believe I would be here.
Yeah. Was there any part of that, though, at that point in time, like when you were a teenager, where that maybe kept you from pursuing?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. So I was like I think it's my brother as well. Because there's 6 of us all together. I was not allowed, I was not forced to make my confirmation.
Okay.
And I did go to, we call it CCD, and I, did make my communion, and I did do those things. But then, my parents allowed me to stop going all the time to church. And I got very interested in other religions, and specifically Buddhism and Hinduism. And, I've been a yogi for 25 years. So that speaks a lot to me, but it's all of it. You know, I've really just been allowed to be curious, and I would not consider myself a Catholic today. I'm raised Catholic, but I am a child of God. I am a child of the light, and that's it. You know, because I feel like religions are like dialects of God, you know, and there's many of them, and not any one of them is right or wrong. They all belong because they're part of humanity. They're the tapestry of who we are. So I find beauty in all of it. You know, I did my own ancestry when I was coming into shamanism, and I found I have Sephoриc Jewish roots. And I was like, that makes so much sense to me because there's a lot of Jewish culture and heritage that I feel very connected to. And so I channel a lot of the Jewish angels, and like, yeah, I've dabbled in a lot of things. I like to read, and yeah, faith I mean, what I do is all based off the power of intention. And so what you believe, you become.
Yeah.
And that's magic. You know, it's not this like hocus pocus. I mean, there are wands involved with crystals, but like it's, you know, it's believing in the unseen and bringing the spiritual realms into the physical realm. And that is how this works. So it takes a strong belief, because, you know, people want to, like, everybody wants to see something. It's like, just have patience and you'll see.
Yeah. So you've been seeking for a very long time. That's not something necessarily new to you. Yeah.
No, because I knew there was way more than what I could see from the time I was a child.
Yeah.
But I just didn't talk about it because, like, in this day and age, you know, in our world here in America, it's not very welcome.
Sure.
I didn't grow up feeling welcomed to talk about that.
Sure.
I think, you know, if I had a different family and I was raised in another part of the world, who knows? But that wasn't how it was supposed to be.
Right.
So, yeah, I definitely have sensed others and colors and just different things over the years that were like, and distracting to me, you know? And like nowadays, like my partner will be like, Maria, what do you, and I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm not going to share this with you right now. I don't think you're ready for all this. I'm just going to keep this to myself. And then I do, you know, I mean, yeah. It's all in discernment. It's like, you know, I can tell when people are ready and when they're not, because I really just want to bring peace wherever I am. I'm not trying to upset people. And sometimes this information is upsetting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And sometimes it is in a beautiful way. It's like I'll deliver a message and someone's like, oh my God, I was just like, that's so crazy. I was just thinking about my dad, and like, here you are, like telling me, and I'm like,
sure.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Oh, just go around telling people you're welcome all day.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. I mean, I think because like I was afraid, and it was like chastised, you know, in the beginning. I was so excited about all this when I was like, oh my God, I like know who I am and I know my purpose and I want to tell everybody and everyone's going to be okay with it. It was like, no, that's not what's going to happen, Maria. And it was just, you know, I mean, life is just one big learning curve constantly.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, absolutely. And it's like, but at the end of the day, Jennifer, I'm happy with who I am.
Yeah. I
know who I am. And that's all that matters, you know? Yeah. And the people around me who know me and love me, that's what they see. And they could care less how I'm, you know, I'm not hurting myself.
Right.
I mean, I live a pretty low-key life, and I'm sober, I'm vegan. I took coffee out of my life almost a year ago, which was a big, like, that was my last hurdle. My last vice in life. And that just feels better. I've been retraining my nervous system. Yeah. To respond the way that is in my own nature, not in a reactionary way, not in a defensive way. You know what I mean? Like that's what's really helped me. Yeah. And all of these little steps along the way of like, I'm going to stop doing this and see what that does. I'm going to like start doing this and see what that does. I'm going to meditate every day. I'm going to, be out in the sunshine. There's a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, and it doesn't, everybody has time to have some peace in their life. I truly believe that, because I've had a lot of different experiences and I've been like really busy and then I've not been busy, but I've always had time to pray. I've always had time to meditate. I've always had time to check in with myself. And that's how I've stayed sane and sober.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the key to it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've made myself a priority, really.
Yeah. But seriously.
I'm like number one on the list. Like, I mean, and for a long time I wasn't, and I think a lot of moms need that liberating because if you're not okay, everybody else is going to start to not be okay too.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, speaking of motherhood, you said you got married very young.
Yes.
So why?
Oh my gosh. I met my soulmate. I loved my ex-husband. I mean, looking back on it, like he did nothing wrong. I realized that like we weren't the right people for one another and it wasn't going to be a forever. And that's okay. It's taken me, gosh, we got divorced in 2012 and here we are in 2025. It's taken me a long time to forgive myself for hurting him and my children. Cause that's also, not usual. I left. I was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. This is not for me. And I don't know what I'm going to do now. I usually, that's how I make a lot of decisions in my life. I go, okay, this doesn't feel right. I'm going to totally stop this and go do something else and I'll figure it out along the way. And yeah, I was seeking stability. I was seeking like the happily ever after. I wanted my own family. I always wanted to be a mom. I knew I was going to have 2 children. I'm so happy that God gave me boys. I come from sisters and
were all of you girls?
So 4 girls and 2 boys.
Okay.
But like very wide ranging.
Okay.
So my mom and dad had 2 kids each before they married each other.
Gotcha.
And then my sister and I are like their children. So that's what I mean by 6. And I'm very close to my 2 sisters and my brother. My dad's children, I'm not so close to. They're very much older.
Okay.
My dad's passed over. So he passed in 2020. He was 87. My dad's kids are, I think, in their like mid 60s.
Yeah.
So, we just didn't grow up with them. And
they were adults when you were.
I mean, everybody was.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. Well, I mean, my brother and sister were teenagers, but it's really exciting because next month, my nephew, so my older sister, who was like a mother to my sister and I, her only son is getting married. And so we're all going to be together, and we haven't been together in like 20 years, like since like my Nana passed, and that was like in 2006.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, my family's been, we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot, but we're all pretty amazing people for what's happened to us. And I love them.
Yeah.
They're the best.
Are you guys all spread out or are they mostly still in the
So
Northeast?
my younger sister lives here in Florida and we're just shy of 2 years apart. My older sister lives out west in Utah and she is 12 years older than me. And then my brother is 10 years older than me and he lives in Oregon.
Oh, wow.
So we've been spread out for quite some time. My sister and her husband have lived out west since the 90s. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we all just, it was interesting. And I've read this about what happens in dysfunction. We bound together. We were so like enmeshed and we like used each other to survive. And then I think we all like wanted to have our own life.
Yeah.
And we really tried to figure it out. But, I give my older sister a lot of credit because she has helped me a great deal, especially after my dad passed and I was coming out of a toxic relationship and I lived with her and she is like a mother figure to me. So I adore her.
Good.
Yeah.
That's so wonderful.
It's very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it just also speaks to the fact that like, even though there may be dysfunction or hurt, it doesn't mean that there aren't other relationships or other things that are beautiful within that or that will stay after that. And so you don't have to throw everything out.
Yeah, you don't. And I have chosen, as has my, my siblings, all of them over, and I don't like to speak about their experiences because that's their experience.
Mm-hmm.
But we all have gone through moments of like pulling away from our mother. And, I mean, that's how, for me, I best stay safe, sane, happy. I can't have that person in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust her. There's just a lot of things that have gone on, and it's just, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's necessary.
Yeah.
Because like you said, if you're not taking care of yourself first, then, you're not going to be any good to do anything else or to be there for anybody else.
I feel like a lot of people get caught in this like people pleasing.
Yeah.
And like, my gosh. And it's like, I had to make peace when my dad passed and I decided to not speak to my mother anymore, that I had to make peace with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 3 years later, I ended up talking to her for a short time and then was like, okay, this isn't serving me, and I'm going to continue what I started 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I have like really close I have a couple of girlfriends that are like my sisters here close to me.
Yeah.
And we actually, all live like 3 minutes apart from each other.
Nice.
So it's very beautiful. God has brought me into a lot of like my soul family people.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, it all just adds to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There's, I mean, we've gone through some traumatic things together, my siblings and I, but we also have like shared a lot of awesome times. And, I'm excited that we now all have adult children. That's the cool thing about being a young mom, because like, and my partner, his kids are all adults, and, so yeah, we have adult children. My baby just turned 20 last month, and he is in the Navy. He's stationed in Japan.
Oh, wow.
We're actually estranged from one another right now. We've been estranged for some years, and that is something that I have a lot of faith around, because he's having his own experience.
Mm-hmm.
And in time, he will come back and want to know who his mom is. But that was, that was a casualty of divorce and my actions and things that I did that obviously hurt him. But yeah, I have a 20-year-old and Tyler will be 24 in August, which is just bizarre. So my sister's coming to the wedding and her 2 kids. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. We've come quite a way.
That's wonderful.
Quite a way. And all of our kids are, I say to Tyler all the time, like, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. Because
the way that this world is, when things happen and the directions that you can go in, none of our kids went in the directions where they would be in danger. Like, they're all like amazing people. And, I mean, I think my siblings and I have something to do with that. My brother doesn't have any kids, but my sisters and I think that, we learned.
Yeah.
We learned what not to do and what to do, and we put out some pretty cool people.
Love that. So, you were a stay-at-home mom for 12 years, you said. So did you basically go from did you go to college?
I went to college for a very short amount of time. I came right back home and I worked for my family's dealership.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Of course, you have a lot of synchronicities. I already knew. I said, Jennifer's going to come and there's going to be so many things that we're going to have in common, because that's how it works. So yeah, my dad owned a Ford dealership and my sister and I both worked there. And my best friend from high school went to college in Rhode Island, who I'm actually hoping to see next week. I'm actually going to visit my son next week.
Oh, nice.
And I haven't seen my best friend in like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
She's got kids, we grow up, we connect on Instagram, but we don't get to see each other because she lives up there. And she went to college in Rhode Island. And so I went to visit her, and that was when I met my ex-husband, and that was it. It was this whirlwind. Like, I came up for like a spring fling weekend and like a Memorial Day, and I moved up there like 4th of July, and then we got married in October, and then I was pregnant by the time my birthday came, and my birthday's in December. So Tyler was born. Yeah, he was our honeymoon, like oh my God, it all just happened really fast. And then, I waited almost 4 years to have his brother, Miles.
Yeah.
So, and I just, my ex-husband had a decent job, and that was our choice, was for me to be home. And that was the greatest time in my life. It's the hardest, but the greatest. It was amazing to be a stay-at-home mom and get to be there for everything and play with my kids. And I taught gymnastics, I taught dance, my kids came along, soccer, basketball, baseball, like nature walks, like we did it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got to be there for all that. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So during this time, though, you're obviously struggling internally.
Mm-hmm.
And is it, just a lack of feeling like you are like living your purpose or living authentically? Was it something specific that was tethering?
I think for a long time, Jennifer, I was like, okay, I'm a mom and that should be everything. And I really feel like towards the end of all of it, it was like, what is this? Like, and especially when I didn't want the marriage to continue and I wanted and I can't really say that it was one thing. It just was, it was all of it together.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I didn't know who I was anymore. And so I wanted to find that out. And, unfortunately I had a lot of people got hurt in that. And those are things that have taken time to repair.
Yeah.
But, and I lost friends, like when, we got divorced. And then when I was going through a lot of troubles, like people pulled away from me and certain people have come back, but it was like, who are you to leave your kids? It was quite a lot. And it's like, if I didn't choose me, I wouldn't be here anymore. And how would that be helpful to my children? And that was also what got me sober. What helped me get through it all was like, okay, my kids deserve a mom and I don't want to hurt them. And I was away from them for a long time, like my ex. And I'm really glad that he made this decision. But at the time, it was really hard when I was in and out of the hospital, because I spent a year going in and out of the hospital and he wouldn't take them to come see me. I really didn't see them much. When I did see them, it was really hard for me because I was really trying to function again. And I feel like I remember journaling about this. I live on the weekends and then I'd fall back into just disarray during the week, and I did. I had to come down here and leave, where I was living up north and move to Florida and push the reset button in life and just start all over again. Yeah. And that was what I did. Yeah. And so I've made a lot of hard but necessary choices in order to continue to find myself. And I've journaled about it the whole way through. I've written journals for my children at some point I can give to them. And I'm really close with my older son now. Yeah. So yeah, he's seen it all.
That's great. I mean, it's great that you're close.
Yeah. Well, it's great that we can have conversations now.
Absolutely. You said that you tried to end your life in 2011, but you didn't get divorced till 2012. So you guys were still together.
Well, we were not living together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He moved out in early 2011. I tried to take my life in November of 2011.
Okay.
So I was working at the time 3 jobs. I was training for a triathlon. I was a complete alcoholic. At the time of my suicide, I was abusing Adderall, smoking pot. I was a mess. I wasn't eating. I was a full-on mess. I remember one of my really close friends was like, "What do you think, you're a rock star?" And I was like, "What are you talking about? I'm so healthy." And I even think it's crazy because I've done 3 triathlons since I've done 3 altogether. So two since that time. And I'm like, wow. I would drink vodka out of a water bottle and get on my bike. Oof. Or go swimming. I mean, I was a crazy trainer. I was all about my training. The second one I did after my dad passed, And that was a lot more balanced. And then the one last year that I just did is the most balanced I've ever been.
Okay.
Because I was eating.
Yeah.
I remember like saying to my partner, I was like, I did so much work today. I'm like so hungry. And he was like, oh my gosh, you get like so, he knows like when I'm hungry because I started to get like hangry. And I was like, listen, I'm really proud of myself because I'm eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I am
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Like I'm very mindful about like every day I get up, I have something like I either do a shake, I do oatmeal, like I do something. I care for myself now. I'm not abusing myself anymore at all. When I think about those times, Jennifer, like if I think about what it would feel like to be high, I get really uncomfortable. And it's like, that is another like complete turnaround because I was like, oh my God, this world, I got to get the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like looking to be high or drunk
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And now it's just the opposite. It's like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
Like even when I'm around, just because I channel energy so easily. Well, if I'm around a lot of people who are drinking, I start to feel drunk after a while. And it's like weird for me. I'm like, I got to get out of this vibration.
Yeah.
It's starting to make me feel like dizzy and strange. And I don't like that anymore. I don't want anything to interrupt Maria. I don't want to be altered in any way. I want to feel the full experience of this human experience.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I want the full human experience, even though, I am very connected to my alien roots and my galactic family. And I'm doing a lot of work on their behalf for humanity. And so, yeah.
But that comes with healing, that position
100%.
of not wanting to dissolve into the escape. We all have coping mechanisms and some are, healthier than others to be sure. But I think it is a true mark of healing when you can sit in tension and discomfort and not want to run away, not want to change everything immediately, but to recognize that it's part of the process. There is always work ahead, but that doing that work.
Yeah, we're always healing.
Yeah.
Like I've healed from a lot, but I will always be healing in some way, shape, or form. And I just want to invite other people. Feeling is healing. And that is your key. That is your roadmap.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? And what do you need to work on?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's about being in the eye of the storm and feeling peace and knowing that everything is temporary and that I don't have the only thing I have control over is myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes that means saying no to things for me, because I would be like, okay, I want to do this. I want to distract myself with this. I want to go do that. I want to do.
Sure.
And now I don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a hard place to get to. And I think sometimes, again, healing isn't linear. And so we can heal and then we can have things or seasons where, we're not necessarily operating in a healthy function, but that's okay. Like that's part of
that
life.
As experience. I look at that as everything is an experience.
Yeah.
And it's how you choose, because it's all about perception. So how do you choose to perceive it and build upon it? Because everything is a choice. Every single thing is a choice. You wanted to have water. I wanted to have tea. We took Mishka out. He's sitting here with us. He could be in the bedroom. Yeah. I mean, there are a gazillion choices that lead to more choices and then, consequences and beautiful gifts or things that are completely just happen because life is always going to be lifing.
Yeah.
So I always say life will show up. You can hide under a rock. I can hide here in my house, but life's going to show up.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do? That's when the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
All of the practices and the things that I've learned to do to keep myself healthy and peaceful. Those are the things that I reach out for when things get tough and when life does show up.
Yeah.
And, I have all that. Recently I was telling you before we started recording that we said goodbye to our mama dog a week ago. And, my partner said something so beautiful to me because he's like, Maria, out of all of us, you're the one who has the most connection to her now because you can talk to her. And I was like, and then I told him, I said, she's at the gates. I can see her. She's sitting at the gates. there she is. And it's beautiful. And she's watching us.
Yeah.
And she's doing her work from behind the scenes. And that's what happens. Like when my dad passed over, it was no coincidence that it was 2 months after I became anointed and started doing this work, because the morning he passed, I worked with a brand new client and I said, listen, can you just give me an hour? My dad just passed. And he was like, oh my God, you want it? And I said, no, my dad really wants to be a part of this session. And he's my number one guide. My dad shows me things and shows up all the time. He plays songs for me, gives me information. Like, I mean, that's what we're doing. We're here honoring our ancestors. Their legacy is now ours to carry forward and to do better. And that's what spirit is doing. They're helping us. Yeah. It's all this. It's not just the people here in the physical. Yeah. So when you open to that, I mean, there's so much. There's so much richness to it.
Yeah. Can you talk about, because you don't seem to carry a lot of shame or guilt.
Those are things I've worked on.
I'm sure you have. I mean, I could pretty much guarantee it.
I lived in a hell of a lot of shame, and it's really heavy.
Yeah.
It's a heaviness. And so I look at all of this as what I believe, like what shamans believe, is that everything is a dysfunction of soul. And so in ancient times, you would be asked, when was the last time you sang and when was the last time you danced? And if you are not doing those things, there's a heaviness to you. So when I was in the depths of my despair, I certainly wasn't singing and dancing. I was crying, and that's okay too. Cry it out. I cry a little every day. I let the valves, the reserve, I let it all flow through. Sometimes I cry when I'm dancing, and that's okay too. But yeah, it's a lot of investigating into the roots of those energy blocks. And shame is the closest vibration to death itself. It is, that is a fact. And so it is super heavy. And I definitely went through guilt. I mean, I think once your children are born, it's like, oh, mom guilt, like here it is. And am I doing everything right? And I remember feeling like I used to write everything down with Tyler, and like just the responsibility of like, I have to keep this child alive. Like there's so much to that, right?
Yeah.
And it brought on so much anxiety to me. But sure, there was a lot of shame. There was a lot of shame in the choices that I made when I wasn't healthy and doing drugs and, lying to myself. I did a lot of the way that my dysfunction for me manifested was I wasn't outwardly intentionally looking to hurt other people.
Sure.
Like I wasn't one of those like raging, like I was getting in trouble and I hurt me. I was like, I am going to beat myself up and do everything to myself. I was very inward, and some people are very outward with their rage, but me, it was all like inward.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, shame and guilt were something, it started with affirmations.
Okay.
It started very simply with affirmations of like, I am a capable woman. I am a child of God. Like when I look back in my, I went into recovery in 2013, and those, like my therapist at the time was like, can you like say 3 positive things about yourself? And those were 2. I can't think of the third, but those were 2. And now I write affirmations all the time. And those are part of what I put into healing rituals. One of my favorite ones is my being is freeing. All I have to do is be. That's it. Like, it's really simple.
Yeah.
I just have to allow myself to be. And in that, I'm free.
Yeah. I love that.
And I say that every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's it's so toxic, but it's a hard, like, cancer almost to get rid of in our bodies, just shame and guilt. And I think, both are very much based in fear as well. So
Well, they're tied to something. They're tied. That's why I'm saying like it's an energy.
Oh, yeah.
That gets stuck in your being. So that's why people like me. You know, you're a healer. I'm a healer. We all have the ability to heal. Sometimes we need somebody outside of ourselves to come in and go, okay, it's there. And that's what I do. I'm able to tune into your system and see where that's living in your body and remove that energy. And that is the root of it. And after that, all of the other work is up to you. But energetically, you're gonna be free of that, and you're gonna begin healing. And so that's what happened for me. That's why I do what I do, and I'm a living example of it. There was a fragment of my soul that was in another lifetime that the shaman that I saw retrieved, replaced, like brought me back together, and boom, spiritual awakening, like avalanche in my body. My life has not looked the same since. And it was like it was just like, I didn't look back. I just kept like, okay, this is how I'm going to go about this from now on. And that's what I do.
Yeah.
You know, I investigate my own system all the time. And I know when things are sitting someplace, they have to be released and removed. And then I move on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's always like maintenance involved in all of it. But that is such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And, you know, it's not just this lifetime. It could be, you know, that's one of the beautiful things that I have access to is past life recall. And so I can just do a regression for somebody and pull that out. And that's not always the case, but a lot of times it is. It's tied to a trauma. And so I say, like, whatever your soul is ready to look at and to heal is what will come out. And that's, you know, because people are like, what is it like to work with you? It's like, well, I'm going to be singing and playing a drum and chanting and burning things. And I mean, it's a multi-layered experience, but we're going to be moving the energy around. We're going to be moving that energy that's just kind of just in your body. And that's how it is. And once that goes, it's like, it's amazing. You know, it's quiet, it's peaceful, it's very deep and profound. And a lot of times, like, I work over the phone with people and in person here at my house. And I'll say, like, you know, sit with it. Like, energy is very powerful, but it's not, you know, it's going to take time. Like, it's going to integrate and over time, more and more things will start to change and come to you. And just, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe everything is. And I think there's going to be a lot of things coming out more and more about how energy is everything and spirituality and science-based consciousness. Not just, you know, like, oh, a bunch of people say this. No, consciousness is real. It's a real thing that is carried through your existence, of your spark, of your essence. It doesn't just go away.
Yeah. I interviewed somebody a few months ago who she has this position of everything in her life is a miracle. And so everything is based in miracles. And so, you know, the way that she broke it down was just so interesting to me, because she was just talking about these instances in her life where, you know, a lot of us would call it like a coincidence or, you know, something like that. And
there's no coincidences.
And she's calling it
Absolutely
a miracle.
Not. It is. It's a miracle. I love it.
But what was interesting is that she's had a group of scientists that have specifically asked to work with her in this, like, researching this, or her helping them research this.
I would love it.
Yeah.
I would love for that to happen for me. If there's anybody listening who wants to, like, you know, do some kind of experiment, because, like, I believe that, you know, I process very differently. I'm high functioning autism. I didn't realize that I was autistic until I was into my 40s. And of course that makes so much sense because I get things differently. And we are here for a reason. We're here to unlock all of this because, like, telepathy is real. All of these things that are like, oh, no, they're real. and they're happening. And there's so much more coming out about it. And I feel like this is just the beginning. In the next couple of years, it's going to be like the floodgates are just going to be broken. I mean, that's what 2025 is. It's the year of transition.
Okay.
And we're moving into what we call the new earth. And it's not any place we're going. It's here, but the energy is changing so drastically.
That's really interesting.
There's a lot of people talking about this, but I can attest to definitely like seeing this show up in, in many different spiritual systems, like, I mean, there's so many more people gravitating towards astrology. There's, like I sit here with crystals, like all of these things we want the truth.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just going to be spoon fed everything. It's
Mm-hmm.
not like we're taking back our sovereignty.
Mm.
It's not about systems. That's why systems are breaking.
Yeah.
It's power to the people. And that doesn't necessarily mean like war and people, it doesn't have to be violent. It's
right.
It's about like, what do you believe and what is your truth and and let me tell you, we're all very powerful, very powerful. That's why there's been a lot of stigmas against people like me. Why witches were burned at the stake because, we were saying something and doing something that the powers that be did not like because it was going to be, oh my gosh, like we had to be controlled. That's all breaking. That's all leaving.
How has it been for like your family who, got to watch this transition, especially having seen your rock bottom, your family and friends, and the ones that have stuck around or have come back maybe? How has that been for them?
I mean, I guess like we'd have to really ask them.
Sure.
I'd say that I'd say that they really, they're happy that I figured it out.
Yeah.
They have, they knew who I am. Like I'm somebody that listens to people. I'm a middle child and I've always been like a peacemaker,
Mm-hmm.
and I can understand both sides of the coin and just, I'm really strong.
Yeah.
And I think that was something that I had to come to understand.
Mm-hmm.
And so, my family knows our sister's really strong. I've been through a lot. I've like not only survived it, but now I'm beginning to thrive. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you want for people you love.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And to see healing happen.
Yeah.
It's just a really beautiful.
And I'm a good time. I'm a fun person.
Yes.
I'm a fun person. And, and it's all of it.
And you get to be that person.
I get to be that person.
Yeah.
I get to be exactly who I came here to be.
Mm.
Fun, silly, goofy. Sure, there are things that are serious at times, but like, I don't know. I've always been a very like optimistic, upbeat, positive person. That's just like my nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so having those things that have happened to me, it really took me out of my nature. And that's something that I've like told my kids, like never let a circumstance or a situation or a person take you out of your nature. Respond in a way that's going to make you feel good about you. It's important.
For sure.
Because I like definitely wasn't doing that for a long time. I was definitely not doing that, and reacting to life instead of responding to it.
Yeah.
That's a huge one. I wrote about it years ago. It's actually the article is on like another online magazine. It's called like, learning to develop the pause button, learning to pause before I respond. Because sometimes I don't do anything.
Yeah. And you don't have to.
And that's what feels best for me.
Exactly.
If that's what serves me, then that's what I do. Because I never want to betray myself. And that's where a lot of shame and guilt comes in.
Yeah.
If I'm betraying what I truly feel, that is the worst. That is like the worst. That's why I always say to people that I'm mentoring or counseling, it's like, how do you feel about that? Because I'm not going to like, you're telling me, but I'm going to hold space for you and allow you to figure it out because it's your life, Yeah. I can give you like my input, but you're like, how does that feel for you? What are the choices? You have to decide.
Yeah.
I'm not here to like dictate anybody's life, their journey, their experience. That's, a lot of, and that again comes back to discernment, because a lot of psychic people will like tell you things and it's like, oh my gosh, that's so disruptive to their journey. Don't say that. Like, because, things can change and free will is free will.
Yeah.
So yeah, it takes, the mark of a true healer is to really be discerning about the information that we share. And it's all to be for the highest and best. And if it's not, then I have no business sharing it.
Yeah. Very cool. Well, I have a question that I ask everybody at the end of each episode. And then I know you have something to share as well.
Yes.
So that question is, through the lens of your experience, what does compassion mean to you?
Compassion means sharing my heart. Yeah. I always say everything starts from within. So if I can be graceful with myself, I can be graceful with you. If I can be compassionate and kind to myself, I can be compassionate towards somebody else. And that means me sharing my heart. But I have to be in a good space to do that.
Sure.
Because if my heart has boo-boos and ouchies, I don't want to share those. That wouldn't be very compassionate. So yeah, compassion is, I think, along the lines of everything I've kind of shared, like having a servant's heart, serving others.
Yeah.
Being a friend, opening a door, smiling at somebody. Like I started the weirdest conversation with somebody the other day just because I smiled at them. And I was like, I got in my car and I went, does nobody smile at people anymore? Like, is it not okay to do that? Like, I didn't want anything. I was just like, hey, I'm just smiling at you.
Yeah, right?
It was really interesting.
You're from the Northeast,
I do. Well, I do. I think it's, it's interesting because you go to different places in this country and yeah, it is very different. You know, up there, there's a lot of people and we're moving fast. And it's not that we don't want to be kind. It's just that like, we're trying to get somewhere. And there's like a million people out there.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's just a slower pace. People smile. I like wave at people. Like that happens on, like I run.
Yeah.
So like I wave at, everybody waves at me. We're all waving at each other. It's just how it happens, which is why I love being in this part of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot slower and a little more kind.
Well, they say up in the Northeast, people are kind, but they're not nice.
That's true.
Yeah.
That I have to say, that's true. Because you can talk to anybody in a grocery store. They'll talk to you.
Yeah.
People can be
they'll
kind.
help you.
And we want to be helpful, because I still consider myself a Jersey girl for sure.
Yeah.
But people aren't always nice.
Yeah.
That's true. There's a difference between kind and nice.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's more important to be kind.
I agree.
I mean, it's good to be nice.
Yeah, sure. As long as you're also
As long as you're kind, yeah. There's just no reason to be mean.
correct.
There's just no reason to be mean. It's like if you're mean, you're angry about something, and then you're taking it out on other people. And like, that's not nice.
Yeah, no, or kind.
Well, I have this poem I want to share with you. It's called A Hint of Spirit, and I wrote it in the beginning of this year. A bird's sweet song, the words that are heard after someone special is long gone. Feelings that invite me inwards, mysteries infused with life force as they linger. Instincts engaged by the touch of a finger. Pictures formed in the clouds. Messages from a soul completing its angelic rounds. Stay with me in the clues nature provides. Feelings that invite me to go inside. My heart expands when I take a deep breath. The rays of the sun upon my face, sparkling energy is growing in grace. Pure essence of love shines from my smile. Come sit beside me and stay a while. Feelings are the truth that is left behind. Remembering all the lessons faith is teaching. It's not about ego reaching or postulated preaching. It comes down to feeling. What I feel directs me what to heal. Hints of spirit are alive within.
Wow. Feelings are truth that's been left behind. That I love that.
Thank you. I feel like, every poem that I'm guided to read in an interview always ties it all together.
Yeah.
Because all of this they're all just delivered to me. I'm just the messenger. That's what I've come to understand for some time now is I didn't realize what channeling was. And now it's just, it comes in a lot of forms, but I am a channel for spirit and I'm here to deliver these messages and to touch people in these ways. And, that poem specifically I wrote after I was meditating outside and I just write them. They just come. It's just like, boop, here it is.
Yep.
And so, yeah, it was meant for this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for sharing your story and your heart and where you are and how you got there. It's a huge exercise in vulnerability and showing up in authenticity. And I very much appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really love that you touched on vulnerability because vulnerability is a strength and it's something that needs a lot more air in this world.
Yes.
You need to let that breathe and be your vulnerable self and share how you feel. And it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all okay. So I like to close every conversation. I say, enlighten in shadow, always with love. Namaste.
Thank you for listening to The Human Experience. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please subscribe, share it with your friends and family, share it on social media, and rate and review it on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can also support the podcast financially by going to my website, thehxpod.com, linked in the show notes, and clicking on Donate. It takes a lot of time and resources to create this podcast, so every little bit helps. Everyone has a story, and I'd love to hear yours. So be sure to check out the show notes for more information about how to stay in touch. Do good and love well.